Okay, I was wondering why, for one, my intro wasn't having any sound to it, and why my and why I was not speaking, like why the volume wasn't coming through, like for my microphone. But I'm here, yay! Actually, this should, yeah, this is the setup for my City Skylines game. That we'll be playing, but wrong slide. So we'll get into that in a minute. Um, but yeah, here I am finally, as I promised for however long. Welcome to a Wednesday night live stream. Finally back doing Wednesday night live streams. Hopefully, for good. Um, it's been kind of busy, and honestly, like half the time I don't know. I just didn't really feel the motivation to do a stream on my own. You know what I mean? Like I find it really easy to stream with my friends, to play EU4 and to play games with Sam and stuff like that. When I can get Sam on. Um and stuff like that. And it's easy to talk with people because the conversation sort of flows, right, between me and my friends. Well, not all the time, but most of the time it does. And it passes the time a lot quicker, and it's a lot of fun when you're able to just talk back and forth rather than trying to have to play the game and also keep people entertained at the same time. Um, but unfortunately, my friends Matt and Sean aren't here today because we're not playing EU4. We're playing City Skylines 2. Actually, I should have made sure that my Twitch stream details. I'm pretty sure my stream details are changed. Let me just double check that. Please, you guys know I'm not a professional, so I'm not gonna be perfect. Yep. All right, there it is. So it is working. I'll probably leave that up just in case to check on the chat and stuff like that. Um, but yeah. So here's the thing. My friends aren't here today, and neither is Sam. Um, so it's gonna be just me today. Look, the reason why, like, I really want to get Sam back on, but the thing is that unfortunately she's really not doing well, and it's very personal, and it's yeah, she's just not doing well, and she's not really feeling up to streaming. I don't know how much, like, I don't know if she's gonna want to stream anymore, just because, like, to reveal some stuff, I guess, she feels tired often. Like, that's not, I guess, a huge personal thing, but like she feels really tired often, and we know why, but I'm not gonna go into it very much. But yeah, she's felt a lot more tired, and she's been going to bed a lot earlier, and she's just not feeling as well as she used to. And it's sort of a more permanent thing. So I I don't know if she's gonna be up to stream between 6:30 and 9:30 every night anymore. And it's really tough to say that, and I hate it. But and I hate to bum everyone out from the beginning here, but yeah, that's just sort of the reality of the situation. So I'm gonna try and continue on by myself, at least for the time being, unless I can convince Sam to come on and play something that involves the both of us. Um, But before I get into it, if you like what you see or what you're about to see, because this is the beginning of the stream, and you want to see more of it, it would be great if you guys could consider giving me a follow here on Twitch. It really does mean a lot, especially as a small streamer. If you have any ideas for how I can improve the stream or games you want to see us play in the future, you can let me know on my Twitch chat right here to my left or your right. Because I keep forgetting that, like, you are seeing me inverted, basically. So, yeah, you'll be seeing it on your right on your screens, but it's to my left, according to, like, when I look at the screen here. But anyway, yeah, if you can let me know there or down in the suggestion box down below or even in the YouTube comment section, but I'll get to that in a little bit. Yeah, if you have any ways to improve the stream and stuff like that, I'll do my best to look at everyone's suggestions and constructive criticism and see what I can realistically implement and see which games I could realistically see us playing. But I do have an open mind, so please let me know what you think. If everybody wants to stay up to date with everything that's going on with this channel and the YouTube channel, you can follow me at my X account. My X account will be scrolling across the screen every now and then on this lower third here, and it's just about to come across. My X handle is at Allegius96110996. That is where I post whenever I'm going to be live, whenever I can't be live, whenever I update the schedule, stuff like that. I will let people know over there, so please make sure you go over and say hey. And you know, you'll be able to stay up to date with everything that's going on. My YouTube channel, which just scrolled across the screen there a few seconds ago, is Allegius Plays. That is where I post all of these live streams after they premiered here. They usually go up within the first 24 to 48 hours after they premiered here. When my internet and video editor decides to cooperate with me, because my EU4 live stream from Monday was kind of taking forever to upload, especially once I realized that my first attempt was not only not rendered properly, but I had to go in and re-render it. But I was also having problems with my internet connection. See, my pod, which is behind me there, which I've shown multiple times before, that pod tends to overheat because it needs a lot of space to breathe, and it needs a lot of space to, like, to make sure that, like, the fan circulates the air as much as possible. But the problem is that I only have so many outlets, and I can't move my dresser that's, like, right there, and my old TV stand. I can't move them, like, any further apart, because my TV stand is against the wall, and where my dresser is, that's the way I get out of my room. So I kind of can't push my dresser any further that way, or I'm not gonna be able to get out. There's not gonna be enough room. But yeah, but usually it was up on Tuesday. It wasn't up at the usual time, which I'm kind of annoyed about. But yeah, if it'll be up either tomorrow or Friday, I should say, because this is a Wednesday night live stream, so I gotta remember, to do a I gotta remember that it's Wednesday and get used to that. So I say it'll either be available tomorrow or Friday, depending on how fast I can render it and get it uploaded to YouTube. If you guys want to see it, or if you guys want to help me out over there on YouTube, the best way to do so is subscribing to the channel, hitting the bell notification so that you're notified whenever I upload a video. Share the live streams, like them, just sort of help get the word out about them, as well as the channel itself. I would greatly appreciate that. I really do. I'm also a small YouTuber, and this is more of just a hobby. So, every little bit helps, and like I said, I greatly appreciate it. So with that being said, excuse me. With that being said, let's move over here. So I'm gonna try something new Let me just make sure that the volume is on. Yeah, I'm gonna try something new here. So I don't actually have City Skylines 2 up. I pre-recorded this footage because I want to do something different. I want to tell a story of this city um while being able to watch with you the city being built itself, because I found that like through all of my previous playthroughs with building a city in City Skylines, I noticed that I and even when Sam's with me, I noticed that I always have issues both talking and building at the same time, and it sort of became frustrating, especially later on when I had to demolish a bunch of different neighborhoods in order to like build a freeway or build a railroad or whatever. So with this, I decided to pre-record the footage of me building the city while I talk, so that like the city is still going to be built and I can describe what I'm doing without getting distracted by actually building it. So first a little bit, I guess I can actually play the video here because it is going to be a while. I also like went in and edited the video so that like all of the extra bits where I either stopped playing because of some external reason, like I went for dinner or whatever. Basically skipped those parts, so all of that is edited out. Yeah, so this here, let's make sure it's playing. Yeah, all right, so it is.
Hi there. This is Liz Peterson on the atmospheric piano channel, playing music that has a meaning.
Okay. So I'm gonna have to try to avoid dealing.
Wet one today. I'm gonna keep dry and stay inside. Local weather all day, every day.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to try to avoid the broadcasters, like the announcers on the radio there, or the DJs, I think they're called. But yeah, this is just showing sort of the location right now. I really like this map. It is one of the original maps on the in the game, and it's called Driftwood Beach. Now, it's supposed to be in the southern hemisphere, and I believe it was like European themed to start, but I wanted to make it North American because that's where I want this to take place. And North America is basically where I'm used to because I live here. So based on and though the downside to this is that the North America, because the map is in the southern hemisphere, though that's where it's supposed to be centered. You'll notice that you'll see that the game starts in January, and the game starts in January, and it's summertime, so summer is going to be like the inverse of or the opposite of the northern hemisphere. So if you guys don't mind pretending that this is like June of 2026, I greatly appreciate that, because it's kind of like I can't really go into the map files and change it. So anyway, so the other reason why I was sort of floating around the map there is I was sort of wanting to show you everything that's like all of the map as a whole, and this is me building the initial settlements. So this city and the name Bay of Plenty is not really the final name. It's just sort of a placeholder. It's supposed to be like, I meant to translate it, get it translated into like the local indigenous or Native American language, because like what I'm building now is actually going to be like initial, up here in Canada, they're called Indigenous First Nations. But I know down in the US, it's Native American. So it's kind of like, it's going to be a little difficult for me to get used to use. Hopefully people can understand that when I say Indigenous First Nations, I do mean Native Americans, because that's, again, what they're called in the US. If I'm wrong, let me know. But yeah, so currently I'm initially building the first roads that will go through the map. They sort of work as like old trails that were used by these small initial settlements to trade and to move people through. Best way to put it is they're kind of like portage trails up here, with the Indigenous nations in Canada. They would call them portage trails because they go from lake to lake. Basically these are the initial roads, and they're kind of like, they're going to be at least like 1,000 years old, you know, or even older, considering like the area that this takes place in, which is a fictional fictional southeastern US state. So think of this along the Gulf of Mexico or Gulf of America, whichever one you choose to call it. This is supposed to be based on the Gulf of America here, or Gulf of Mexico. Again, try not to be insulting, like, don't want to be offensive at all. This is just, again, supposed to be a fun little story campaign. So initially, this, based off of the history, and I used, please don't get mad for me using AI, but in this area, I used AI to help me with the sort of history of, you know, the Gulf area, especially geologically over like 10,000 years, stuff like that. So please bear with me, because like there could be mistakes, but generally this is a fictional settlement in a fictional southeastern US state that will be called New Iberia. So the state that this settlement's going to take place in will eventually be known, as New Iberia, because it used to be settled by the French, or not the French. It used to be initially when it was first colonized by European explorers and colonizers. It was first colonized by the Spanish, and they called this area New Iberia to, you know, again, pay homage to their home. So anyway, so this city, which will eventually become known as Port Isabel, is the capital of the, again, fictional U.S. state of New Iberia. It is a culturally and historically, economically rich and fascinating territory. I wrote this down in my own words, so again, the information I'm using is from Gemini. I've tried to put this in my own words so that, you know, not only I can understand it, but it sounds less artificial. So anyway, to continue on, this bay that would become known as Port Isabel, New Iberia, has been explored and inhabited for thousands of years, first by small nomadic bands of hunter-gatherers during the last ice age. This is because sea levels were vastly lower than what they are now, than what they are today. And the Gulf coastline extended much farther out than where it currently sits. So you can imagine that on this map, in the southern coastline, not the bay itself that you see there, but the southern coastline that faces the Gulf was a lot further. The land was a lot further south than where it is today, because the the glaciers were still around. It was still the Ice Age, so, you know. So anyway, yeah, while not much is known about the people of that time, not much is known about the people of this time that talked about with the last Ice Age, that inhabited this area. We do know that early nomadic groups have trekked through this area, camping on the elevated ridges, elevated ridge lines that are still here in the modern day. While most of their trails have disappeared, citizens over the centuries still walk similar paths. So you can imagine, like, where I'm building now, that's why I kind of chose these sort of ridges kind of things there, because that's the first thing I thought of when I saw the map, is that they were using these ridge lines that would eventually start to be made into, like, mounds and, you know, more permanent settlements. So yeah, that's why I initially built instead of using all of the flat land that's there, I used these ridges to build, like, the initial settlements. And, like, you can imagine that these, like, dirt roads that I'm building right here are kind of some of the paths that were made over thousands of years, and then the citizens of these settlements, these Native American settlements, were made by the citizens themselves. Also take note, again, there's going to be some modern day technology with, like, the water pumps, because unfortunately the game can't work without it, and I don't really want to go around and making a lot of downloading a lot of mods right now. So this is mainly going to be, like, a vanilla, it's mainly going to be a vanilla playthrough. So please just, again, bear with me on that. You'll have to, like, think of this as more of a historical fantasy in a way. But yeah, so this is what I've initially done. I built my water pumps. I built, like, a windmill. I built a water pumping station for and a outflow pipe there, to sort of be the initial settlements, you know, water service and electricity, because again the game sort of forces me to have to put those unless I want to find mods that don't force me to. But you know, it is what it is. So, like, what I'm doing with those initial settlements is because, like, even back then, if like the Native Americans built, you know, settlements in a sort of similar fashion to, like, how Europeans back, you know, hundreds to thousands of years ago built their settlements, which was more focused on, like, organic growth and organic development. That's sort of what I tried to focus on right now with the initial settlements, is just building roads where they would need, where there would be something that a citizen would want, you know, like, it's supposed to be mainly, like, you know, that road specifically, that sort of circular road that you saw there, was specifically built to give access to the water pumping station. So it's being more built as a sort of, again, organic development. If it's not exactly, like, realistically organic, that's another thing that, like, I'll say, just bear with me, because I'm not really used to organic development, like organic road building and stuff like that, because I live in a city. I live in a big city, and I know grids too well, and so most of my cities that I build on my own time, and you guys can see it in my past playthroughs, whether it's Cities Skylines 2 or Cities Skylines itself, like the original, Um,
Love that song. For some reason, that song is always stuck in my head, and not in a bad way. This is Liz Peterson, and you're listening to the Atmospheric Piano Channel.
okay. But yeah, so I'm more used to grids. So it just because I grew up in a big city and I've just always been used to grids. And so you see in all my previous streams that I would start off with a grid and I just build out from there. So it kind of, makes it kind of look a little bit boring. Whereas here I really am trying to grow organically and build the settlements out as they go along. You'll also notice, you'll also notice that I'm building really slowly. I want to grow the city sort of slowly over time. So you'll notice that like as I continue to grow and as I continue to build buildings and other infrastructure, I'm slowly building it over the course of a few minutes so that the city doesn't expand too rapidly and doesn't expand like way too quickly that the story has to like be quick with it too. So this is sort of the first initial settlement. Like I can continue sort of talking about the area itself and what it's becoming. So yeah, it was where was I here? Camping on the ridgelines that were still here in the modern day. Okay, yeah, I've already passed all that. Eventually, the ice melted, the sea levels rose and filled in the low-lying areas that created the bay, estuary, and the barrier islands that, again, we see here on the map. You can see that, like, that's sort of the river that leads down to the estuary. This is the bay. That's the bay there. I don't think you can see my cursor here, but you can see, like, the bay inside where the initial settlements are facing. That's sort of what was left over after the ice melted and sort of moved up north, that slowly pulled back as the ice age ended. Between 4000 to 2000 BCE or before Common Era, semi-permanent human settlements began popping up along the coastlines. They would harvest oyster, fish, and deer while building massive shell mounds, middens, I think they're called, Middens, to elevate their living grounds above high tides and storm surges, which again will mention. That's why I'm building them on these ridges, because I'm just trying to sort of simulate, them sort of building these like mounds and building on these ridges to sort of have the high ground, which is what they seem to like to do according to Gemini. And so and plus, these settlements are like that I'm building right now. This is a second sort of small Native American settlement. Were created by Native American nations that are fictional but realistic and sort of grounded for this area of like the southeast US and sort of the Gulf area. I wanted to create a like two Native American nations that sort of were fictional, so that I can sort of put my own flair on them and create and sort of be able to put my own unique twist on them. But they also feel, but I also wanted them to sort of feel, again, realistic and grounded. So that's why, again, they're sort of on both of these ridges. I will go into them more as I sort of build up these communities, but like I really like the initial settlements. As you can see, I think I did okay with them. It's the organic growth is something that I'm gonna really have to get used to, but the entire sort of build, it was pretty fun. I mean, it definitely had its tricky moments. I'm trying to like, I don't know if maybe I shouldn't have built like the houses so big now that I'm looking at them. Now that I'm thinking about it, like I don't know if these initial communities would have such big houses involved. Like they'd probably be a bit more smaller, more compact. But it is what it is. It can be that could probably be one of the, again, unique parts of these two different but similar cultures. But yeah, I mean, so one of the things I'm doing is sort of like trying to to smooth out the area so that I can build on these hills. I mean, that's one of the most difficult things that I had to deal with when trying to build these settlements, was like flattening the area and then building a house, building these houses on them, because the issue was the issue was that like it's hard to build on hills. Like, come on, most people start on flat ground, but because I wanted to stay true to the like the actual lore, I had to start on the hills. So I'm sort of flattening them out and then smoothing the ground around them. It's also because like the plots of land, the plots of houses in the city or in the game tend to go a little wonky when they're on like really steep hills, or there's like an incline or a decline. It makes the houses look really wonky, or the plots themselves look really weird. So that's sort of what I'm doing there. The other thing I wanted to mention is that I will be placing other sort of Native American settlements along this bay and sort of the Gulf Coast, because one of the cultures, this culture on the left side here that's further west, this one is sort of focused on fishing and I think they were fishing. Yeah. Let me see what I wrote down here, because I can't remember exactly. I think this is I guess I should introduce them. So I guess I'll introduce you. So this settlement to the west is home to what are known as the Ishali. I'm trying to find what I wrote down about them. Where did I write? What did I write about them? I know I wrote down what both these cultures are known for. So, yeah, oh god, I'm trying to find what because the other, like, here, I'll talk about the first settlement then. The first settlement that you guys saw, as I'm building those electricity lines, So the first group, the first culture or community that that I built there, that sort of settled the area, are known as the Mishabak. These people were at the time and still are known for their mound building coastal culture, which again is why they're settled on the ridge that I built them on. They are exceptional wood carvers, dugout canoe navigators, and are often praised for their extensive and logistically efficient trade networks along the Gulf. So the so that other settlement, not that one that you're seeing there, but like the other settlement there that I initially started with, they are known for being very good at logistics, deep wood wood carving, very good at like trading, especially not only with themselves but like with other communities of other cultures. They are sort of focused on being, sort of being a cultural or a trading sort of powerhouse in a way of the area, which is why you'll see later on I try to build a commercial and industrial hub in that area because I wanted to, or in like right up against the coast, because I wanted to sort of give the idea that, they're trading along the bay, and like that's sort of their main hub where a lot of traders will come in to trade with the locals and then continue on, like pick up other stuff that will continue along the trade network. So I just find that idea is kind of cool. I really kind of like that idea that I've got a very, very strong logistical and highly efficient. Woo! I forgot that I was adjusting the music in the game. But yeah, they're sort of logistically efficient, and they've got a lot of trade networks going along the Gulf Coast. But the other settlement that I was working on, that I was trying to find, the information I wrote down about them, the Ashali. They are seasonal coastal stewards who historically lived in palisaded fishing villages along the sheltered bays, using shell mounds to protect their settlements from storm surges. So the other settlement that I was showing you earlier there, that I initially started building, those are the Ashali. They will be a group focused on administration. So I gotta remember that I'm probably gonna set up like any administration buildings that I build before, we get into like the colonizer.
Laura writes that she never really understood what counterpoint means. Glad you asked, Laura. It's quite easy. In the language of music theory, counterpoint is a composition technique in which two or more melodies lines complement one another but act independently.
Okay then.
Across the region today. Hope everybody out there has a good one.
I bet the community, the initial people living here right now in the game, wish they had those radios. Broadcasters telling them that when they'd get up in the mornings. But yeah, so any sort of administrative buildings before like the colonizers arrive, which I doubt that like the administration buildings will come in before I decide to start building like the initial mission and stuff like that from Spain. I don't, but any administration building I might start building there, because they're highly, again, they're focused on stewardship, and they're gonna have a lot of fishing going on. So their community initially there you can kind of see them trying to start like I'm trying to debate like what industry I want to start there, because I don't want to have too much like manufacturing, right? When like initially I was trying to figure out like what do I start? You know, do I start a agricultural or farming industry, because that would be there back then. So like I'm trying to be as historically accurate as I can, well, again, still being a bit fictional. I couldn't decide what I wanted to do, so I decided, okay, I'll start with like the poultry industry, like poultry farming, or animal farming. And that'll sort of be the first industry of the Mishabak, which you see there. That's the Mishabak settlement, and that's probably what I'm gonna name this district once like the modern day comes around. That's probably what I'm gonna name it, to sort of, you know, keep it sort of like add depth to the reason why a district is named a certain thing, you know, to keep history alive. So yeah, this is their first industry, but you're gonna notice that as I try to build more industry, what I'm gonna probably do is, because the outside fishing village, like the sea fishing doesn't unlock right away. It's actually the land fishing sort of building industry. You'll see that that's what I start with, and I put that in the Ishali area. So I basically put the fishing area there, because again, that's what they're known for. But so I plan to sort of sprout these settlements all around, so that like it's not just these two areas that they had controlled along the bay. It was actually, you know, a group of settlements that were placed there. So here I am again trying to think about like, how do I make this village look sort of organic, and like how do I make it look like it's being built for, like these roads are being built for a reason, not just because it's sort of a planned development or, you know, a grid system. Though you will notice that like there is the oh, I'm gonna you will notice though that over time things do look a bit gritty, but I don't like in terms of like having a grid system, but I don't think it will be too bad. Sorry, everyone. Just had to message somebody, because they usually text me around this time. So, or was texting my partner. So they're on their way home, and they let me know all the time when they're finished work and they're on their way home. So I just wanted to let them know that okay, sounds good. Have a safe trip home. You know, I always like to do that. But like the perfect example about what I'm talking about with the reason for building a road a certain way, that road that you see there that goes off screen to the right, that area, that road will sort of more directly connect with the Mishabak community, because like if you look the beforehand, the way to get from that settlement to the other settlement, these people moving in here would have to go down and then across the original trail and then back up into the other community. So that road that was built there not only went along the shoreline, closer, follows the shoreline, but also more connects to the community there. See? But yeah, so the other cool thing is that, or the other thing I wanted to mention is that, so these groups, these two different native cultures, not only founded their settlements there, where they did there, but this would be around, like, the initial settlements would have been about around 500 to 1000 CE, or Common Era. This area would finally get their first permanent settlements, which is what I'm building there. While historians dispute the names of the settlements because of the dispute the name of the settlement because of the two major tribes that settled the area. The most likely names are hold on, what did I do here? Hold on. Dispute the names of the settlements because of the two major tribes that settled here. The most likely names of the settlements are Misha Oka, translating, so the Misha Bak settled their community there, called Misha Oka, translating roughly to beyond great waters, or I think it's Ixachito, meaning big mouth. Now, the reason why they were known as so actually I wrote this down. These names come from the names come from the native nations that first inhabited the land at the time and still call the territory home today. Again, these native nations are known as the Mishabak and the Ishali. So the Mishabak's community is known as Misha Oka, translating to beyond great water. They're referencing sort of the bay that you see there, that they sort of founded their community off of. The Ishali named their town, or their community, Ixachito, or Big Mouth, because of the estuary that you see, that you see that will open up down further along the bay. That might change. I might find a better name for this settlement and call another one of the Ishali's communities that, which is Ixachito. I might call another community founded by the Ishali that's sort of placed closer to the opening of the river, so it makes more sense, you know. But those are the two initial names I came up with. I definitely like Misha Oka for the Mishabak settlement, but like I said, I might change the name of this settlement, find a better name that sort of references the bay that they're on, or their surrounding area, just because it doesn't fully fit, you know, this initial settlement, because it's kind of further away from the mouth of the river. But I'll see. But yeah, right now it's mainly just um, getting the communities up and going, and again, sort of building, you know, sort of slowly. I do see the population and building a lot more houses a lot faster, as time goes on. So like once once the population hits probably about 100, or once the actual mission, the once the actual sort of Spanish explorers come around and start settling, the population will increase. I know I'm sort of giving away what's gonna happen in the later in the story, but if you know the history of like the southeast US and the Caribbean and that, you sort of know what's going on, or what's going to happen once colonization starts. I do want, I'll give away a little bit of a spoiler. I do want to have these two settlements sort of still play an influential role in in like the modern city once it gets up to modern times. I do still plan to see these I do still plan to want these people, want the leaders of these two communities at the very least to still play a role within the modern city, to sort of show like that these communities didn't just disappear. They didn't disappear. They actually, have a role within the city itself. And you'll probably still, I guarantee I'm probably going to try to keep a lot of these roads, these initial roads, built around, I'm still going to probably want to keep them around, so that, they'll just get paved and it'll be like, oh, wow, cool. Like, so, 5 or 6 streams later, I'm looking at them and they're like, oh, these were paved. They're all paved. These used to be all dirt,
Updates to our power grid, the city will be experiencing rolling blackouts. We urge the public to remain calm during these breaks in service and to follow the guidelines on the city's website on how to plan for these temporary events. This has been a local public service announcement. Recent spikes in demand have led to temporary local shortages in the city's fresh water supply. The public should be aware that we are struggling to get the situation in hand. This has been a local public service announcement.
Wow. It is raining outside pretty hard right now.
I
So,
want to share a funny story with you, lovely listeners. We all know Beethoven, right? But did you know that despite his mathematical complexity of his compositions, Beethoven always struggled with numbers? He left school at age of 11 after learning how to add and subtract, but before learning how to multiply or divide. As a result, he found it difficult to keep track on his finances. Luckily, his compositions didn't struggle with numbers.
Warm temperatures across the region today. Hope everybody out there has a good one.
so yeah, I just wanted to make sure that my stream's still going properly here. So yeah, I mean, yeah, so that's sort of what I've been going for, but yeah, it is raining pretty hard outside, so if my power does go out, and there's also a lot of thunder and lightning, so if my power does go out, I apologize. I will definitely try to restream all of this, like stream all of this again, and finish it up, either tomorrow or Friday. But I don't think it will. I don't think my power will go out, but I might be jinxing it right now, so I'll just have to hope that that doesn't happen. But yeah, so like this, I really liked the thought of doing something like this, you know, where I'm sort of telling a story, and sort of, you know, just sitting back and relaxing and watching, sort of watching my past self build a city, and then sort of telling the story afterwards, to everybody. Yeah. I think it's a lot more fun. It's a lot more relaxing now because the hard part is sort of over, right? Like, I don't have to worry about building anything, or, you know, trying to talk while I'm building, because it's already built for me. But yeah, so trying to remember what I'm doing here. Like, I also wanted it to be aesthetically pleasing, you know. I wanted it to look good too, because I know myself when I'm playing Cities Skylines, or I'm watching other people playing. Like, okay, the weird thing for me is that when I watch other people playing Cities Skylines or Cities Skylines 2, is that if they don't build a city that, like, I'm really finding sort of aesthetically pleasing or whatever, you know, if it's just sort of like all over the place and it just looks, I don't know, just completely crazy, like, it's hard to explain. Like, I'm very picky, I guess. That's what I'll say. I'm very picky about what a city looks like and how a city should look. So if somebody's building a city that's just like has no sort of plan to it, it's all just more like spread out everywhere. You have one road going way off in one direction, you have another road going way off in one direction, and just have like houses all the way along it, and then an industry area or whatever. It doesn't look aesthetically pleasing to me. Like, right now, this right now is a little bit, I don't know. Normally it would turn me off, but like, I remind myself again what I'm trying to go for, what I'm trying to go for, and it's like, okay, I am telling a story, and over time it's gonna all come together, but like, you know, it's still sort of difficult for me to say, hey, okay, remember, there is a plan here. It's just the story is going to take a while to be told. Just bear with myself, you know. But I know that, like, I do find that when I don't know, I find that, you know, when people just build a city that just goes everywhere and there's no real reason for it, it sort of turns me off from watching the city, you know. Holy crap, that I don't know, I wonder if my microphone is picking it up, picking up the thunder that's going on outside, because holy, but yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is another, speaking of which, to get back on topic, the story, what I did here was like, okay, there's a bit of a forest here, so to sort of capitalize on that and actually have more stuff to trade with, the Misha Bach gets into like the forestry industry also, to sort of make building more like cheaper, because you have an actual supply, a steady supply of trees coming, of logs coming in. Now, you'd also want to have a quarry going on with that, because it actually makes things in the game cheaper to build than if you don't have a quarry. But I just, for, story purposes, the Mishikbok were like, hey, not only can we trade this good, but our town of Mishaoka can actually benefit from having a steady supply of timber to then build our houses with. So it makes things a lot cheaper, and it sort of, I guess it gives them sort of more power over the Ashali, because the thing is it like the Ashali, if you notice, they don't really have any good areas for their own timber industry, so it becomes a little bit more difficult for them to build their houses. So, like, these two people group, these two native nations or native communities, they're not like enemies, they're more like frenemies. I sort of describe them to myself. They don't really fight wars or anything against each other. It's more sort of a lot of disagreements about land claims, territory rights, rights to like fishing and stuff like that. Also settlement founding, like if the community, if the Ashali like put a community, if they settled in an area that's just not if they get in the way of the trade networks of the Mishabak, there would be a problem. It wouldn't necessarily be violent, it would just be like, hey, why are you getting in the way of our trade network, why are you settling in areas that just are making our lives a lot more miserable, or making it a lot harder to trade with neighboring settlements. But I think that but of course the Ashali would respond, well, look, we build settlements that are mainly to help us grow our supply of fish and grow our supply of food. So, and to help us better administrate our lands. So when we see a good spot for those kind of things, in the same way that you guys like to settle to better expand your better expand and make your better expand your trade networks and make your trade networks more efficient, like we have just as much of a right to found our settlements in that regard, because we have our own priorities. They're essentially saying we have our own priorities, and we don't want to get in your way. We don't mean to get in your way, but we do also live here too, and we have to sort of get along to an extent, So that's sort of the initial relationship between these two people groups. And my god, my computer just likes to minimize every couple of minutes. I'm probably gonna have to fix that in the settings, because that is getting very, 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 very annoying. I gotta try to remember to move my mouse every couple of minutes here. While I'm just building here, I'm just gonna look and see what's I'm just gonna look and see how much the rain's coming down, because I think I hear it. Wow. Just gonna turn off. So for some reason, there's a lot of thunder. There's a lot of thunder and lightning, but it's not really coming down that hard right now. Like the rain isn't like coming down too hard, but for some reason the thunder and lightning are just really going nuts. Yeah. So I figure probably about 8:10 I'm gonna take about a 10-minute break. And then I'll be back to continue this story. But yeah, I haven't played City Skylines 2 in... Oh yeah, here we go. Here's exactly what I was talking about. I was trying to figure out, like, okay, what was this? Because initially I thought I could build, like, that this had to go on the water, and that I had to build a port, like a fishing harbor for the boats to go out. Excuse me, for the boats to go out and, like, pick up the fish. But this is more of an inland sort of fishing fishing farm, where it's like I guess they breed fish in these in this building. So and it basically works like the forestry area and the other farming areas, where you like extend the area behind it. And I finally made it to my first achievement, which I'm very happy about. So I got a bit of money with it. I got like a landfill zone. I got a let's see what else. I closed it off before I could do anything, which kind of sucks. But yeah, so the first achievement, I believe you get like healthcare services and landfill, and then you got like medium. Do you get medium? Yeah, you got medium density, but it is just way too early to even consider medium density, because I barely have what's the population? Like 35. Is it 25 or 35? I couldn't tell. I can't really tell. I think it's 35. But still, it's like way too early for that. And as you can see, like it's dark now, so initially I don't, but I think from now on I am going to
Stay
like
tuned right here, everybody. This is your host, Liz Peterson, and you're listening to the Atmospheric Piano Channel.
yeah, I'm like two things. So
across the region today. Hope everybody out there has a good one.
I could talk over them, but I'd get distracted, and it'd be kind of annoying for you guys to hear it. So two things though. Every day I'm gonna change the radio station so that it's not always the same songs. I know it can be repetitive. So once it skips over to another day, it will you'll see I'll go into the radio and switch it over. But second thing is, because it's so dark in the game right now, I realized that, you know what, from now on, I'm just going to, like, speed up time so that the nighttime goes by really quickly. So. And there's me dealing with the... God! There's me dealing with the hillside again. All because I want to try to stay, you know, true to the lore. You know what's weird, though? I noticed that the nighttime is actually I noticed that the nighttime is a lot sort of brighter in the actual game than in the broadcaster. I don't think it's anything to do with the broadcaster itself, because or the game recording software itself, because everything looks okay. Like when I initially looked at this video, in the in my video editor, but I guess it's a bit different, like watching it on a smaller screen. I don't know. It's just kind of weird. So that's why I think it's especially important that I sort of skip past the nighttime, because I'm noticing it's like, at least for me, it's really, really dark. Let's see, did I? No, I haven't yet. I wish I would already. go to daytime, or like start skipping ahead to or fast forwarding time. Yeah, I know it can kind of be kind of boring that the settlement growth is kind of slow right now, but it's sort of how I intend it to be. It's like I want it to grow like at a slow rate at the beginning, and then as more industries and as more, you know, economic opportunities come along, both sort of these initial settlements and like the colonial settlement, once this area is discovered, the sort of growth will increase over time. The growth rate will actually increase over time, so that, like, you know, the city grows a lot faster. Excuse me. Yeah, again, like with this, it's just sort of trying to decide like how I want the like oh, there we go. Finally I realized, hey, you know what, I'm gonna skip past the nighttime, because I realized that it's gonna take forever to get past the nighttime, and it's super dark. And while they did a good job, while Ice Flake did a decent job with increasing the quality of the visuals in the nighttime, like to help you see better, I still find that, you know, even doing it, like even now trying to play in the dark is still like, it's, at the nighttime is still just way too much. You know what I mean? It's still just too much to try and do. So I just decided, you know what, I'll just skip time, or fast forward time, so that the nighttime doesn't last so long, which is gonna kind of suck when the winter time comes around. Like, because that's how I plan to do it, is like I'm gonna play 3 months. I'm gonna play like each stream will consist of three in-game months of gameplay. So it should take around, like, I know that this video, like the gameplay footage video that I created here, is about 2 hours and 39 minutes. So the game is going to it does provide just about the right amount of time for me to like have a 10-minute break, have an intro, and and do an ending, and it'll be about 3 hours long. So my normal length of time, the normal length of time that I usually stream for. So. Oh yeah, I totally forgot. I gotta give power to the fishing villages, cause the fishing industry, cause I know that I don't have to, and it's sort of a money waster. As you can see, I'm playing like with the normal mode on, but I don't know. Like to start a city, I always like to have the power lines be above ground, just because it is the beginning of a city. So, and again, I kind of get that that's historically unrealistic, considering the time where it's supposed to be between like 500 and 1000 common era at this kind of time. But whatever, it's my stream. I'll do what I want. I'll say that this is a little bit of again, historical fantasy. But yeah. But yeah, it's like it was fun coming up with the concept, and I mean, like, yeah, it was fun coming up with the concept to do this, and like where I'm gonna have it take place, and you know, the backstory, because like I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I'm very into I'm very into storytelling, and like I'm an aspiring writer, so I always liked coming up with ideas and stories, and coming up with my own worlds and stuff like that, even as a kid. Oh yeah, here I am trying to change the radio. I couldn't figure out how to do that for a second, so there we go. I chose is that soft rock, I think? Let me oh god, that's twice I did that to myself now. It's twice I did that to myself. But I think this is the soft rock radio. So yeah. But now I completely lost my train of thought. But yeah, this is like, yeah, as someone who's an aspiring writer, I just thought, hey, you know what? And I didn't see somebody doing this with Cities Skylines, so I've seen somebody like, you know, sort of. I've seen a couple of YouTubers do a sort of, I guess, story-driven city. Like they'd mention a few things like, oh, the mayor did this, and they have an election coming up or whatever. And I was like, okay, I kind of want to do something like that, you know. I kind of want to do a more story-driven campaign. So I was like, okay, I'll see how that goes, and you know, like at this point for the city, there's not really that much to talk about, other than the fact that, like, okay, I'm adding a couple of commercial businesses, especially for the Mishabak settlement. It's mainly to sort of get these settlements' economies going, you know. But over time, it's sort of like, I know that I have to add some more industry, because those industries that I've set up are just not enough to warrant like continuing to add more homes, when, you know, there's just not a lot of jobs that those industries and commercial buildings provide. So it's like, okay, I'm going to have to do something about that. But yeah. Yeah, here I'm just, again, adding telephone lines or hydro lines. Electricity lines. I forget that, like, people in Canada will understand what I'm when I say, or at the very least, in Ontario, people will understand what I mean by, hydro bills or hydro lines. We mean electricity because a lot of our electricity comes from hydroelectric dams. So it's mainly produced with water, you know. So we generally call electricity hydro, even though it's hydro. You kind of think of water in a way because, you know, the word. But, yeah, that is not, in this city, that's not what electricity will be. So, just kind of got to remember to say, adding electricity lines instead of hydro lines. I mean, unless I decide that, you know, that one of these, either the Mishabak or the, Ashali, or when the Spanish colonizers start colonizing, which is going to make for some very interesting drama between the three communities. Unless one of those three communities comes in and decides, you know what, I'm going to dam up the river to produce electricity or whatever. Like, honestly, I wouldn't put it past myself to say, hey, that's what they're gonna do. So, just to be, I don't know. Just to be unique or whatever. Yeah, I would say that the town is coming together. Like, the communities are coming together. But still trying to get used to the more organic layout that I'm used to, you know? Trying to build something that's outside of my comfort zone. And you'll notice that I tend to do this thing where, like, I like to keep the telephone line, the electricity poles at least about 2.5 meters high, which isn't a problem because, like, I find that, like, when they're their normal height, they're really small and they tend to cause the buildings behind them, or like that's along that section of the road already, to disappear. So what I do is I put them up to about 2.5 meters. But the issue with that is that I find that the issue with that is when I try to build a road afterward, I tend to the game doesn't separate the heights. So if I keep it at 2.5 meters after building the electricity poles, I find that when I go over to build roads, I still have that 2.5 meter height from where I built the electricity wires. So it's like sometimes I make the mistake of forgetting, and I had to, like, I built like an entire community or an entire like block of, you know, pavement. I'm like, great. I gotta go demolish all that and redo it because it looks horrible. Like the incline and declines going everywhere is just, you know, all over the place, you know. It's just really kind of annoying to deal with. But yeah. So what I've done as well, I should mention, and this is gonna be, if I remember correctly, this is gonna be an industrial area. Yeah. I'm making my first industrial building there. I'm gonna try to keep that side from being too highly industrialized. Although, I might change my mind on that because, again, the Mishabak are gonna focus on commercial and trade, whereas these guys are gonna focus on fishing and potentially some industrial stuff. God, we really gotta do something about that light because I'm seeing it flashing on the camera too, which is kind of annoying. But I may have the Ishali focus on, you know, actual manufacturing stuff. But as of right now, I'm gonna try to keep it clean, and then I can make up my mind later. But yeah, one of the things that I've done, I've sort of made a rule for myself though to help sort of control the growth, is look at the unemployment statistic and see what happened, like how much unemployment there is. If it's above 3%, I'm like, okay, I'll give like the industry like 2 or 3 plots, or 2 plots and then a commercial building. If the based on sort of the demand that you see on the bottom bar, on the bottom left, I'll be like, okay, I'll give 3 industrial building, or I'll give 3 industrial buildings to the city, or like 2 commercial, you know, just as sort of like a baseline, for like to make sure unemployment doesn't skyrocket, like doesn't get way too high, and unemployment just doesn't, you know, plummet, because the city should always have at least some unemployment so that, you know, there's more reason for new businesses to appear, you know. So I try to keep a baseline of about 3% unemployment, and then sort of go from there.
From our listeners. This one comes from Axel Throb. The tank, no doubt. I know a mighty warrior. So here's his question. Did you ever really ride a dragon? I thought dragons only allow the bravest and wisest amongst us to mount them. Why, that's a very sage question, Axel Throb. And yes, you're quite right. They're extremely selective about their friends. Less so with their enemies. In all honesty, I didn't really so much ride the dragon, more like I danced upon its back while it thrashed and wrestled about as I stabbed it repeatedly with a short sword. Yes, no, not a very elegant approach. It all kind of ended in a draw, actually. Anyway, a dragon rider sounds rather better than dragon stabber, and it really is only a slight exaggeration in the circumstances, so I do hope you'll forgive the indulgence. Thank you for the question, and for listening, and for absorbing all that damage. I'm sure the rest of your party appreciates all that meaty courage. This is Soft Rock Radio.
In today's news, the region's birthright figures have just come out.
That's right.
What was that about? Like, dude is dude may need to get checked out after that. Like,
That's right, Jim. We'll be back after this.
what was he smoking?
Region's
Like,
death rate figures are out, and we're seeing much lower numbers than usual. People in the area are living longer and healthier lives.
That's a good thing, Glenda.
Seymour Greed of Greed and Grief Funeral Home is with us in studio.
greed and grief. Oh my god.
What are your thoughts on today's news?
Our hands have not entirely fallen idle, but we celebrate with the city when death stays its hand, and when darkness returns, we at Greed and Grief will feel the city's pain.
but it's got to be bad for business, huh, Mr. Greed?
Every one of you will die someday. We will collect our due from each and every one of you. We are in no hurry.
That's a good sport. There's a silver lining after all.
We're expecting unseasonably high temperatures across the region today. It's quite a heat wave out there. Moms, make sure the kids don't stay out in the sun too long. Don't forget the sunscreen, folks. And remember to stay hydrated. It's going to be a hot one. Sure am glad the station has AC.
Yeah, that's the first normal one I heard. Wow, what radio station did I tune into? Because wow, what was that about the dragon? Like, what the hell? I think that guy was on something. Wow, that's bizarre. And then Creed and Grief. Like, I've had this game since it came out back in 2024. Was it 2024 or 2023? I can't remember. I gotta look it up now quickly. But yeah, I've had this game since it came out, and October 2023. Okay, so it's 3 years. It's going on 3 years old. But yeah, I've had this game since 2023, and I never really listened to the radio because I prefer to listen to Spotify and that and listen to my music. But because that's copyrighted, it's kind of like, and it's close to 8:01, so I'm gonna finish this up, and then I'm actually gonna pause it, and then I'll continue this when I get back. So yeah, I tend to like turn on to mute the music and the audio, the radio, so that I can listen to my own Spotify to my favorite artists on Spotify or YouTube or whatever. So I don't really get to hear the music or the radio chatter on the game, or the ads. And so it's sort of, sometimes I hear it for the first time and it's just like, what the hell? What is going on with this? It's really stupid, but you know what? It's pretty funny though. Yeah, that Greed and Grief one really sort of, that was bizarre and actually very cheeky and clever, so I'll give it to them. But anyway, I am gonna go on break. I'll be about 10 minutes. Then I'll come back on and we can continue watching me build here. I think like it's fun watching. I kind of like this setup, just getting to relax and just watching me, and then sort of giving my commentary to my my past self. I think my past self has done good so far, but yeah. So I'm about like halfway through the video, I think. So you know, we'll come back. I'll come back and we can continue the story and we can continue watching. But until then, I'm going on intermission. I'll be about 10 minutes, and I'll see you guys then. So, be back soon. Hey everyone, just give me a second. Apologize that it took me like 10 extra seconds. I'm not really that late, I don't think. So I'm gonna just say, you know, bear with me because I was a bit late. Somebody was hogging the bathroom, and that was not fair. I was trying to get back as quickly as possible, but you know, I did. I got back right on time. On top of that, I also wanted to grab a pop, so yeah. I guess if that didn't already give away the fact that I was Canadian, I mean, you know. But anyway, yeah. See, there was my other conundrum, like, where do I place that road, you know? Like, I was debating, like, having it go all the way down to, like, and connect to the trail, but, like, I might change that. I mean, I'm not entirely sure how I wanted it to go. I think, like, I was, my logic was that, oh, people wanted to go down to that store a lot quicker, so they made it, that road connect to that road that was, like, right next to the store, you know. But yeah, it's slow going right now, but like I said, I think like once I get up, like as time goes on, you'll start to see more people come by, because the more jobs you see in like the industrial areas, the faster the towns will grow, you know. So, oh, one thing I forgot was to turn back on the volume. Or turn back on the volume of the game itself. Otherwise you wouldn't have heard anything. You would have just heard my voice the entire time and that's it. I don't want you guys to suffer through that, you know? I wouldn't subject you guys to that. Yeah. So, like, with these towns here, or like with the Mishabak and the Shali. I keep forgetting the name. I apologize. But like with these two towns, I was like, so I was debating how I wanted to how do I put it? I lost my train of thought again. I guess you can tell that I am still kind of nervous, I guess, because this is my first attempt at, like, you know, doing a story like this, or, like, doing a more story-focused, playthrough, and I'm also by myself. I'm also by myself doing this, so it's kind of, ooh, excuse me. Sorry. I'm also by myself doing this, so it's kind of like, nobody else is here to fill the silence. So it's like, if I don't talk, it's kind of, awkward in a way. But yeah, so like, with these two communities, like, the one thing I will say is I know that I haven't really talked about any of the leaders of these two communities. I've really just talked about the communities as a whole. And I thought about it, and I unlocked something. What was it? Oh, I think that's the particle board factory. I'm not even going to attempt to get a closer look. But yeah, so with these two communities, the reason why I haven't really talked about their first leaders is because like the original inhabitants that I mentioned, where the peoples were you know, moving along the bay here, or before, you know, there was a bay and it was actually like the Ice Age. We don't really know much about those people that, you know, made that sort of trek and settled along the ridges and, you know, made their encampments, and eventually they sort of moved along or disappeared. the initial, like the first leaders of these groups are sort of lost to time, honestly, because it's been like, again, these communities grew over hundreds and hundreds of years, and these two Native American nations, and I'm about to actually settle, I'll explain that in a second, but these two Native American nations, they're not as well known as like the other major Native American nations in the area. So like, in the Florida, Alabama, Louisiana, and all of those sort of areas along the Gulf Coast, there were more prominent Native American nations in that area that people would recognize, and those Native American nations tended to do a better job at record keeping compared to the Mishabak and the Ashali. The Ashali became better at record keeping because they sort of became more known as stewards and administrators. So they sort of started keeping better records of their leaders, but that didn't come until later, which again is why they don't really have any real sort of evidence to verify their initial leaders. I just thought that I'd add that in there too. That other road that you saw me building there, that was the start of again, that commercial and industrial area that I had mentioned for the Misha Oka settlement, because the Mishabak are again focused on trade and to some extent industry, because the fact is while the Mishabak are good, are focusing more on trade and commercial, they do want industry, because like the industry want access to the harbor and to their outside connections, and to the Mishabak's extensive trade networks. So the industry is going to sort of want to go where that is closest. So that's one of the things that they're gonna do, is sort of set up in that area too. But of course the Ashali are also going to be sort of fighting over industry. Well, not like again, not violently fighting, but sort of, trying to get more people to come to their town to open up their own industries, if that makes sense. So I think here I'm going to start eventually laying out that plan for the community, for the Misha Oka community, which is on the right there.
Greetings and welcome. I'm Dylan Rangobone, knife spinner, dragon rider, gentleman, poet, thief.
What is with the dragon, man?
Warm temperatures across the region today. Hope everybody out there has a good one.
I gotta admit, I kind of do like the soft rock radio. It's very soft, and I kind of like that, I still get that European vibe from it. Like, it's definitely, I would call it sort of like European soft rock. But it's got a good vibe. I will definitely give it back. I do like it. I hope that it is allowed on Twitch. I'm pretty sure it is. I didn't really see any warnings against it, so I'll definitely be watching out for it though. So with this road there that follows the shoreline, I wanted it to not only follow the shoreline but also respect the contours, because that's what I was told about, like, organic development, is that also sort of heavily focused on respecting the terrain, and so that's what I was sort of aiming for with that. Excuse me. Hold on 1 second. Oh. I apologize, guys. For those of you again who are joining me after I mentioned it, if you saw me playing games hands-free, it's because this is pre-recorded footage. I pre-recorded myself playing the game, or like building the community over the weekend, and so I'm just sort of giving my commentary now. That way I'm not both distracted and that way I'm not distracted by, like, building while I'm talking. So it makes it just much easier to you know, do it this way. And I'm kind of enjoying it too, because, like, I do find I have much more to say, you know, as I watch myself play it compared to when I'm just playing the game. You know, I'm sort of more focused on, on actually playing the game rather than you know, sitting back and watching me play it, you know. So I definitely like the fact that I had this idea of, like, recording the footage first and then just giving my commentary about it afterwards, you know. So I'm just sort of, like, starting the commercial area and the industrial area here. I could see this part of the bay being a more being like a harbor in this area, because it's sort of because, again, it's part of the protected bay that's there, right? Like, you notice that there's a bay, the bay is protected fairly well, and again, that the Misha Oka community is focused on trade, as I said. So they're going to be focusing on building commercial and their industrial areas, like, close to the water, so that they can ship across the bay and out into the Gulf Coast and then along the Gulf Coast itself. So that's what their community is doing. That's what I'm sort of building up their infrastructure there. Sorry, I thought I was hearing somebody. Thought I heard someone call him for me. But you're gonna see, because of the port that I'm building there, that part of the Misha Oka community is gonna get is going to be populated fairly quickly because there's like a lot of jobs and a lot of commercial in that area. So you're gonna see like that harbor is going to create like a lot of jobs and a lot of their people wanting to live in that area to sort of bolster the economy there. Whereas the Ashali there are sort of focused on, you know, their fishing industry, and they've got some commercial there, but it's sort of having a bit more trouble because there's just not a lot of jobs compared to the Misha Oka, the community of Misha Oka. So so what I'm gonna do, so again, I'm trying to debate what I want the Ashali to do to get more people there. I think they're gonna fight for more manufacturing industry there, and probably that I may actually look into having them build a rock quarry. I've thought about that, you know, because again, I want it to stay realistic and you know, grounded while having a little bit of fantasy involved, you know. So it's sort of like, now that I'm watching it, it's sort of like, okay, this is what I want to have happen. This is how I can sort of justify helping this community grow. And then I see this area and I think, okay, if I add more stuff here, this community is going to continue to want to grow, versus this community. And, you know, over time, like, we'll see that sort of pattern continue. So I'm sort of now just working out how I want this area to be built out. And it came out, I would say it came out fairly well, in my opinion. I think I did a good job with it. Again, respecting the contours was pretty difficult, like, again, considering how I'm building these towns. What time? Yeah, I know that there's a feature now in the game that allows you to choose what side of the roads, or what roads specifically you want to have zones on. But I still use the old method a lot too, of building a path that sort of cuts off zones where you don't want the road to have zones, because there's certain points where I want one road to have zones, but I also want the second road that goes sort of that sort of goes the a different way, like to also have zones, but I don't want it on the full length. So hold on. Give me 1 second. Sorry, guys. Wow. So it has rained that hard that in my house, like where I am, my the basement flooded a little bit because it apparently went in through the laundry. Like, you know that the chute where the do you guys have that, like, the chute where that, like, your dryer is connected to, and like the hot air gets pushed out of the house? It's hard to explain, but like, yeah, there's like a hole in the roof, or in the not the ceiling, but like, yeah, kind of the ceiling of the basement that leads outside of our house. And it in the basement there's we have that, and it leads outside to the side of the house. And I guess because the hole is sort of a little bit too big for the chute, because the laundry chute is, like, you know, goes outside, there's still extra room for the rain to come down into the basement. So now it's apparently it's freaking
He's never going to drain anyone's soul ever again. Not in this dimension, anyway. Unless he found some way to escape, of course. But how likely is that, right?
oh my god.
I mean, come on. Ah, yes. Oh dear. Sorry, Morthok. We're out of time, but thanks for your question. And let's keep in touch. You're listening to Soft Rock Radio.
In today's news, the region's
Oh my
birth rate
god.
figures have just
That's right. If the birth rate continues to drop, we'll be.
But yeah, apparently it has it's flooded a little bit, which kind of sucks.
to city
But
services.
That's
yeah,
right.
it is what it is.
For this.
Luckily it's not up here.
Region's
I'm
death
glad.
rate figures are out,
Glad
and
about
we're
that.
seeing much lower numbers than usual. People in the area are living longer and healthier lives.
That's a good thing, Glenda.
Seymour Greed of Greed and Grief Funeral Home is with us in studio today. Tell us, sir, what are your thoughts on today's news?
Our hands have not entirely fallen idle, but we celebrate with the city when death stays its hand, and when darkness returns.
They need like we've heard this one like 3 or 4 times. So hopefully they
Bad for business.
I hope that they add a couple more ads, because it's kind of
Someday we will
it's kind of annoying a little bit now.
and every one of you. We are in no hurry.
That's a good sport. There's a silver lining after all.
Warm temperatures across the region today. Hope everybody out there has a good one.
Like, no offense to the DJs and the actual, like, the actual voice actors, but the Ice Flake hopefully will add a couple more clips, like a couple more spoken segments, so it's not just the same 3 or 4 repeated over and over and over again like it currently is. Sorry, just trying to make sure that that's as flat as possible. Yeah, the only issue with the industry, with the housing being so close to the industry, is that they're not going to be too happy with the pollution. But excuse me, at this point, you know, it's not too bad. So hopefully they won't be too upset about it. Yeah, I was sort of like debating, should I make a road that goes up to that to the top of the hill there, but I noticed it was kind of steep, and I was thinking, you know what? I also want to, in my lore, this area is so sort of like perfect for these two communities that like they, even though right now they're separated, the two communities are sort of like, their economies are sort of like becoming more and more intertwined, that the cities, the communities are going to sort of grow and grow and grow more and more over time, that they sort of become one large, you know, settlement. So that's sort of what I'm thinking that I want to have happen at the very least before colonization, like the colonization truly starts, because that's what I have in my lore, is that in the lore of this backstory, or in this story, is that is that the two Native American settlements in like right here sort of grow together to the point where they're sort of one large settlement by the time that the sort of Spanish explorers come in. So yeah. See, hopefully though, I've got about probably another 45 minutes before the end of the stream. I think that there's enough time, or there's enough footage to get me to the end of it, because I know that I did like 3 months of in-game footage, or 3 months of in-game gameplay, so hopefully that'll be enough. And like, I'll take suggestions for what you'd like to see in the city, or if you think that a couple of things need to be changed. And like I said, you know, this this story and this sort of playthrough, it's not meant to be insulting, or, you know, it's not supposed to be like, I'm not intentionally trying to, you know, be offensive at all, or be edgy, or, you know, anything like that. It's mainly, oh my god, put a pin in that for a second. I screwed up, well, okay, not massively, but you could tell, like, I messed up because I tried to flatten the surface, tried to flatten the area, but as you guys can see, I kind of accidentally raised the ground instead of lowering it, and it's like, oops. But yeah, this is supposed to be sort of like, you know, just for fun, and, you know, just sort of testing out this sort of gameplay style of adding a story and a lore to my city. So like, if there is something that I say, or if there's like a part of the story that is sort of like makes people gets somebody upset, or like if I say something that is insensitive or anything like that, can you please let me know? Because, like, you know, that's sort of the last thing I want. I want people to come back and want to listen to my voice for 3 hours and hear me ramble on and on and on about these two communities, while also you know, just talking about random stuff that I was doing on here or in the real world, you know. So it's like, I'm just saying, like, I'm just trying to be I'm trying to be as immersive as possible, and as realistic and as grounded as possible. while at the same time trying to do things in a way that come across, as realistic without it being, while keeping it inoffensive, But it's kind of difficult sometimes, because I think of an idea. I saw what happens is I tend to think of ideas and think that they're good, and then all of a sudden it turns out that it's like, oh wait, no, I didn't think about it this way, and the way it comes across here, it's actually kind of, it's actually kind of little, some people might take that the wrong way, or, maybe I did word it the wrong way, so always sort of have that second thought when, either after I say it or later on in the editing, and it's like, ah, crap. But yeah, I'm just at this point here, I'm just trying to see why I'm trying to see where exactly to expand to get the most houses, to put in the most houses. So I'm trying to keep it again. I'm trying to keep the layout organic in both of the settlements, while also trying to think about okay, what layout can I do that is not only organic but keeps things as efficient as possible in terms of putting as many houses in one section as I possibly can, because I also don't want to waste land, because I only have so much, and I'm playing on normal mode, so I've only got so much land in this starting square that, I still want to be as efficient as possible with the land I have. So, okay, so I've got about 89 people now, I think. So it's I am making progress towards having a decent having a decent population. I'm at if I remember correctly, like I said, I'm at 89, I think. So yeah. But yeah, but you can see why I fast forwarded I turned up the speed on time so that
Dylan Ranglebone here with something of a public service announcement. Adventurers are, naturally, the kind of people drawn to adventure. Adventurous types. As a fellow adventurer, I know it's the life. But you novices out there, try not to do anything too tricky without adult supervision. You might not be ready to take on a whole horde of orcs while the ceiling collapses. That day will come. Just show a little patience and focus on the fundamentals. Jump, spin, backstab, repeat. Jump, spin, backstab, repeat. You're listening to Soft Rock Radio.
In today's news, the region's birthright figures have just come out.
I'd love to know why, what was the aim of that of this DJ of the soft rock radio. I'm very curious to know what I'm curious to know what was the aim of his what was the aim of his character, why did they make him Somebody who loves apparently stabbing dragons for some reason. But yeah, so this is Jade Radio, I think it is. I think it's called. It's very. I think it's. Okay, again, this is another time where I don't want to be insensitive. So this is like. Is it Japanese themed? Like is Jade? You know what? I'm gonna look it up quickly while I'm not really doing anything in the game that's sort of worth mentioning that like expands the story. Yeah, here. All right, so let me check what oh, it's China. Okay, like because that was gonna be my second guess. I was gonna be like, is it based off Japanese cultural music, or is this Chinese, or is it Korean? You know, I was like, which one? So I just decided, you know what, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna look so that I'm right. I just checked the Steam page. It is the Heart of China. It's a blend of traditional and contemporary music, celebrating the country's rich culture and heritage. Okay. That's cool. Oh, did this come with like the I think that this station came with the is it the Chinese pack? I think China got its own pack, and then Japan got its own pack too. I can't fully remember, but I remember the content creator pack for China. And I think that's where this is sort of supposed to get you in the vibe for, you know. So there I am again, just sort of, that's why you'll see that menu a lot. I'll bring that menu up a lot because again, I want to keep a decent pool of a decent ratio to employed to unemployed people, so that at least I have around 3% of people unemployed, so that I can then add more commercial or industrial. It's just I have to be careful with that because industrial manufacturing jobs or industrial and manufacturing buildings have a lot of jobs that people will fill, so that unemployment rate will just drop drastically. So it's definitely something I have to watch. And this is me sort of building again in that harbor area that I was saying that I want to sort of build up. So yeah, this area is going to be, I'm probably going to fit the harbor like right in that like U shape there. And that sort of U shape the land makes there. That'll probably be the first harbor in the region. And the good thing too is you can see the wind is blowing north. So the industry will the industry, any pollution from the industry will actually be blowing up that way, away, like towards the bay, instead of to the south where all the homes are. So I think that's why I can build, you know, more homes closer to the closer to that area, because the pollution is being sent away from the town rather than directly to the town. You know? So this area is going to be mainly commercial and industrial, so that like they get direct connection to the port. I do like the vibe of the music, though. I really do. It's very, very comforting. Like, very relaxing, you know? It while it's different from the piano, radio station, I do find that, like the piano radio station, it definitely makes you sort of relax and zone out while building the city, because it's like, it's not too, well, how do you say, it's not like too distracting, and it's not too noticeable. Like, it is noticeable in terms of like the instruments they use, because you, like, honestly, I don't hear I don't hear some of these instruments like on a daily basis, so it is kind of noticeable. But like in general, the music, compared to like being distracting to listen to while trying to build, it's much easier to zone out with this. And this is my first time looking at the production screen, so you saw that, like, again, I've got a massive surplus on timber, so that's good. But yeah, as I was saying, like, it makes it's very easy to zone out with Jade radio, and even the piano radio station, where compared to like Spotify, if I'm listening to my Spotify playlist and that, oftentimes either get distracted by the music, or I just don't pay attention and I do something stupid like that, where the path sort of, I forget to put, excuse me, I forget to put the path or the height back down to 0 meters, because like that path there went up on a random bridge, like started becoming a bridge at like 2.5 meters for no reason. But yeah. So now I'm gonna also be checking the production the production chain, or the panel itself, to see how the city's actually doing, seeing what it's importing, what it's exporting. I know that, like, I've seen that people have said, and I kind of agree, that like the panel isn't exactly accurate in showing what the real numbers are, but for me it does give me a good baseline of what the city is producing and what it is and what it's missing compared to like the first game. So that's what I like about this version compared to Cities Skylines 1, is that the I do like the production panel, even if it's not accurate. Like, even if it's not 100% accurate, you know? Oh, I'm good. Yeah, there's an airplane. Again, another thing that shouldn't be happening at this current time, but it is what it is. But okay, so the timer says that there is about 35 minutes left of footage, so which is fine. I'm not in a rush to get to end the stream at all. It's just just sort of wanting to check just so we're not constantly going over time. Like, I do like ending the stream around 9:30 10 o'clock. I don't like going over 10. Like, I don't mind going up to like 3.5 hours, but 3.5, like, I don't mind going up to like 10 o'clock or 3.5 hours, but once we go over that amount of time, it's kind of like, okay, that's a little much for me. Like, I find we do that a lot on stream in when we play EU4. And it's kind of, it's fun, but it can definitely be a pain in the ass. Like, when you finally finish the night and I finally sign off, I can definitely tell you afterward, like when I put up the end screen and I'm done, it's kind of like, it's finally fit. Like, I feel exhausted afterwards. You know what I mean? And I haven't even done anything. I've just been sitting here,
Chen Smith, love your show. You're so insightful. It seems like you really know what it's all about. Do you ever do seances? Well, Sandy, thank you very much. But as for your question, the answer is no. There's only two kinds of people that talk to the dead. Crazy people and people who've got to be crazy. They know what they want. Sometimes they act all innocent and nice, but secretly they're thinking about playing tricks on you. Don't be taken for a fool. Thanks for the question, though. Now let's get back to the music.
In today's news, the
Wow.
region's birth rate figures have just come out.
That's right. If the birth rate continues to drop, we'll be looking at downsizing the city.
Wow, okay. And it's like crazy people and people who have to be crazy. It's like, okay. I mean, don't tell psychics that. They will not be happy with you saying that.
That's a good thing, Glenda.
So here I know I have to put in a medical clinic, and thinking about it now, this might have been a mistake to put the ambulance or the medical clinic there. And I was even debating like whether I should put a medical clinic, because one, that's gonna put a very big strain on my city's budget. But also that, like, would it make sense to put a medical clinic at this point in history? Well, of course, a modern medical clinic would not fit here, but like, I was thinking, like, would these settlements have a medical clinic? You know what I mean? So I was wondering if any of these, like, any of these communities or these, like, settlements would have a medical clinic or some type of spot where if somebody gets sick, where they would go, or, like, yeah, where they would go within the settlement. And I was like, you know what? They probably did. I guarantee you I wouldn't doubt it, honestly. And even now that I think about it, I'm more sure of it. And I placed the medical clinic in the Misha Oka settlement, just because I think that there's more people there. there's more people there, so it makes more sense to me to put it where most people would be, so that like you know, there's more than likely people are more likely probably to get sick in an area where there's more people. So I was like, okay, I'll place the medical clinic there. Though again, I already mentioned that the Ashali, the other community, the other community on the other side, the one with the fishing industry there, they're administrators, and technically the medical clinic is sort of a medical administrative building. So it might have made more sense, like now that I'm thinking about it, it might have made more sense to place the medical clinic there, because if the Ashali are more if they're better at administration, should the medical clinic have been put there, because they're better at administration, and so they'd be more likely to probably build a medical clinic. But I'm not gonna, it's already placed. Medical clinics cost a lot. Well, okay, in the greater scheme of things, that don't cost that much. I could afford to relocate it, but I just don't want to. I do kind of need to save money, because once the colonization era occurs, you know, there's going to be a lot more expenses there. So I kind of don't want to spend more money right now when I don't have to. When there's no real negative effects either to just leaving it there. You know, so it's just more worth it at this point to leave the community or leave the clinic where it is. I'll probably put the police station in between the two towns, because it would make more sense. It would cover a lot of area. But then again, maybe I will put it in. Oh, must have been a skip. I just noticed that in the music, it sort of skipped. I can't remember what I was doing then, but yeah. But I don't have access to a PlayStation yet, so none of that really matters at this point, really. I'll definitely say, like, it was much easier to build, it was much easier to build, homes in this area than at the very top. This at least has a little bit of a smoother incline to build on, so I'm much happier with that, like, building with a smaller, with not as much of an incline, you know, so. Even though the houses are kind of small compared to the ones at the top, it's much easier to build these types of these houses here. And that road, that sort of curvy road that you see there on the right, I plan to probably have it go all the way down to the like the original trail there, the first road I built that went like across the map, so that the industrial sector the industrial dash harbor area there you see has a better connection to the outside world, because I know that's kind of an important thing because I'm guaranteeing if anybody's watching in the future and they know how urban development works, they're going to be screaming about that. Or if there's anybody who's like an expert at this game, they're going to be like, Chris, why'd you put the industry and commercial way down there? That's really bad. Or at the very least the industry. You shouldn't have done that. You should have put that on the edges of your city. Well, there's a reason I did that. Yeah, see, even with the new tools, I noticed that the zones are still a bit of a pain in the ass to deal with, especially if you build like an intersection like that. I notice it's really annoying because you gotta deal with the it breaks the grid like super easily, and it's really annoying when it does that. But you can see why this area is getting built up so quickly, and it's because again, there's a lot more jobs and there's a lot more economic stuff going on in this in that area there compared to the area over where the Ashali control. Yeah, that's one of probably the next big events that are probably going to occur, is that one of the major issues between the two of them is as each settlement grows closer and sort of becomes more of a one big settlement. One, where will the borders be? Where are the borders exactly? And two, if it does become one massive settlement, which it's on trajectory to do, who will eventually control that? Like, would the nation, or would both nations be sort of okay with being under one large urban area, or like would it be more of a contested thing? Would they, I mean, I'm sure that they would have their problems, but it's like, would they like each other enough to be okay as one large settlement? Oh my gosh. I really got to do something about my computer, because it's like it's minimizing like every 5 minutes. It's not really anything to do with like something going on with my computer itself, but it's more like it minimizing too often. Or not minimizing, but like going into hibernation too often.
This is your host, Jen Smith.
In today's news, the region's birth rate figures have just come out.
That's right. If the birth rate continues to drop, we'll be looking at downsizing the city for the next generation.
And that will affect everything from business and employment to city services.
That's right, Jim. We'll be back after this. The region's death rate figures are out, and we're seeing much lower numbers than usual. People in the area are living longer and healthier lives.
That's a good thing, Glenda.
Seymour Greed of Greed and Grief Funeral Home is with us in studio today. Tell us, sir, what are your thoughts on today's news?
Our hands have not entirely fallen idle, but we celebrate with the city when death stays its hand. And when the darkness returns, we at Greed and Grief will
Okay,
feed
that
the
is getting really annoying.
It's got to be bad for business.
I'm gonna give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna see if I can.
We'll die someday. We will collect our due from each and every one of you. We are in no hurry.
That's a good sport. There's a silver lining after all.
Okay,
Looking
let's
like
see.
a wet one today.
Hopefully that fixed it. I tried twisting the
Local weather
bulb.
today, every day.
So we'll see what happens. See if that'll stop the flickering. Yeah, right now there isn't really much more to say story-wise because because sort of I'm still trying to grow the settlements first. Like, I want to show that, like, these two settlements are going to be, like, again, having to contest with the fact, or gonna have to deal with the fact that, you know, both settlements are growing so close together that they're going to eventually become one settlement, you know. And that's the other thing too, is the Ashali are probably kind of not liking the fact that because of the harbor in the Mishaoka, in the Mishabak settlement of Mishaoka, they are getting a lot more industry and commercial where the future harbor is going to be. So I can already guarantee that, you know, the Ashali are going to say, they're basically going to be like, hey, we need to find a way to take some of that for ourselves to help grow our own community, you know, to help grow our own town. But yeah, I really like how both towns are coming out so far. I do like how the Misha Oka town is sort of like growing in sort of a radius, like has that road that sort of, you know, curves in a way that, like, and sort of creates a circle there around the mound, specifically there at the shoreline. Now, I'm wondering if that road was a mistake there, the one I just built there, because there's no real point to it, and the road, like, the block there is kind of small, and you can kind of see that, like I said, while I am trying to be more, I'm trying to build more organically, you can still kind of see that that my inner self still wants to build a grid. You can kind of see that the grid is slowly sort of starting to form, especially in the Ashali settlement there. It's like, I'm not intending to do that, but I mean, it kind of, it's gonna end up being like that because it's what I'm used to. It's truly what I'm used to, so you're just gonna have to get used to that. Is that I'm just somebody who likes grids as, you know, uncool as a lot of people think they are, and as boring and repetitive as people think they are. And I agree. I think they are repetitive and somewhat boring, but when you've been used to it your whole life, it's kind of difficult to get like to stop doing that, you know? So this is the first month. So again, I'll remind everybody, it's supposed to be like one episode per season, like, you know, one episode per like weather season in the game. But because this is like, the map is the southern hemisphere, even though that I'm having this town or this eventual city be a part of like a fictional US state on the Gulf Coast, that's supposed to be in the northern hemisphere. So the map's calendar is sort of off because of it. It's sort of off because of it, because like it maps to the southern hemisphere rather than the northern. So as I said earlier, if you guys could pretend to see that instead of it being, is it March in the game currently? Yeah. Instead of it being March in the game, currently it should be like, honestly, the game usually starts in June in the northern, for any map that starts in the northern hemisphere. So, if you guys could just, like I said, pretend that it's like August in the game, or even September, because that's like, it says like the map is in the autumn cycle right now, so it's more like September in the game. So yeah. I didn't realize that the map was in the was southern hemisphere based. If not, I would have, or if I hadn't noticed it, I would have chosen a different map maybe. I just liked the way it looked, and I thought that the peninsula looked perfect for a city. So, that's why I chose this map. Because, you know, it looked aesthetically pleasing, and I thought that I could build a massive city on this, in this area. So, yeah. If I had to guess, the this settlement of Mishaoka probably it probably has double the population of the Ashali settlement. To man, sorry, I have a lot of gas tonight. It's my dinner is sort of digesting, and it's not going down very well right now. So I think this settlement probably has around double the population of the Ashali settlement, which again, I have to come up with a better name for it because I realized that, you know, again, that current placement there doesn't really work for a settlement called Big Mouth because it's nowhere close to the mouth of the river. So I'd like to place a settlement that's closer to the mouth of the river with that name, because it just makes more sense. So I think I think I have like 5 or 10 minutes left of footage for this week, so there shouldn't be too much left of footage for chapter 1 here. But I think I've done good for this first chapter for like settling up for setting up both the Misha Box settlement of Misha Oka and the Ashali settlement there, with Misha Oka having like a commercial and industrial area near a future harbor. I also have a forestry industry. It also has a forestry industry and a I think it's an animal farm. And then on the other side, you have in the Ashali settlement, you have a fishing industry. You also have a fishing industry, and you have some manufacturing industry as well. In Misha Oka, we also have a medical clinic there. So I think it's we've got two very early but developing settlements, and I think they're good. I think these started out very well, and I'm looking forward to seeing how I decide to grow them for at least the next few chapters, you know? Because I definitely see this area becoming a very, very populated area. But depending on the decisions I make, that could definitely change. Oh man, that sunset was beautiful. That's the one thing I definitely got to say. That's another thing I definitely got to say about Cities Skylines 2. They've definitely improved the day-night cycle look, because that was beautiful. That was beautiful. All right. just sort of building a few more houses and connecting a couple more roads before for the end of the stream here. We are at 9:30, so the we've now reached the 3-hour mark. Yeah. So yeah, I knew I wanted that road to sort of curve over towards the harbor area there. And then that road will probably connect up, and then try to go up that hill. But again, it has to respect the contours of the land, right? So yeah, I kind of like the look of it. You know, if I go back in and I don't like it, I can always change it. But so far, I'm satisfied with it. Okay, alright, so I think, oh no, I haven't stopped yet, okay. I'll have to fix that pipeline there that goes down. I'll have to fix that initially, or that initial pipe, because kind of don't need it anymore now that the settlement is growing big enough that, like, the pipes can now follow under the roads themselves, so. Again, checking the unemployment rate. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna need a lot more residential. But like I said, I don't want to grow too fast. I don't want to grow too fast. I like the slow increase, and then, like, over time seeing the growth expand, you know? So, I think having 136 people ending around there is a good start, you know? Well, I didn't mean to do that. Excuse me. I know that a lot of... I know that nobody... I'm pretty sure, like, nobody wants to live directly next to a factory, so... definitely had to fix that. 8:59. All right, and that's how things look at the end of chapter 1. So we've got a nice, if you look here, we got a nice settlement. I think it looks good. Again, I think it's great for my first attempt at a more organic layout than I'm usually used to. Actually, let me see if I can pause it before. Oh, hold on. Let me go back to it just to finish it off. There. I think I did a good job with it. I like my first attempt at a more organic layout. I think it was a really interesting start. It was fun. I'm looking forward, honestly, to seeing, like, once I feel comfortable finishing the full game, or like the full city. I'm interested to see how it's gonna look at the end. You know, compared, I'm gonna look back at the initial start of it, and then sort of compare it to how it looks, you know, way down the road, you know. So I'm very, very happy with the way that ended and how this looks right now after one chapter or one episode, you know. So yeah, I hope you guys like that sort of or this sort of story, more of a story driven. Oh, okay, I put it over there. Okay, I was just looking for my blankets that I usually have on the back here. But yeah, I've never attempted it, and after seeing a few people do it and seeing, you know, like I even saw an urban planner who sort of, I forget his name, but if I remember next week, I'll mention him. But he told a story of the evolution of a city, from like 1870 all the way up to like 1970, and he sort of did it by drawing like maps, and it was really cool to see. It was really cool to watch, and after watching it all, I was like, you know what, I kind of want to do something similar. I'm not good with drawing maps, and I saw, you know, a couple of people or a couple of other YouTubers doing sort of a story-based city build, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try doing something like that. So that's sort of what I've been doing. So that's sort of why I decided to do it this way, and pre-record the gameplay and then talk about it as the gameplay unfolds, you know, rather than getting distracted constantly. I still ended up getting distracted every so often because I'd have the DJs coming on and being like, you know, acting like they're silly selves, you know. But yeah, I liked it and I enjoyed it, and I'm gonna start the process for, you know, the second chapter pretty quickly, so that it's ready for next Wednesday. But if you like what you saw and you want to see more of it, it would be great if you guys could consider giving me a follow here on Twitch. It really does mean a lot, especially as a small streamer. I really do appreciate it, and I thank you to all that I thank you to everybody who already has done so and has helped me out. I really thank you a lot. It means a lot. If you have any ideas for how I can improve the stream, any suggestions for games you want to see us play in the future, or me play in the future, you can let me know either in the Twitch chat right here to your right, or in the suggestion box down below underneath the stream on Twitch. You can also let me know over in the comment section on YouTube. I will do my best to look at all of them, read every comment, and reply to all of them, and see which ideas I can realistically implement, and see which games I can realistically see us playing. I do have an open mind, so, you know, just let me know, and I'll see. I'll consider them. I'll consider it all. If you want to stay up to date with everything that's going on with this channel and the YouTube channel, you can follow me on my X account, which will scroll across the bottom third underneath my beautiful face every so often. My X handle is at Allegius96110996. That is where I post whenever I'm going to be live, whenever I can't be live, whenever I update the schedule, stuff like that. All of that will go over there for people who want to stay up to date and, you know, keep track of everything. For those of you that want to watch these live streams again after they've premiered here and they've disappeared from Twitch, you can find them on my YouTube channel, Allegius Plays. That is where I post all of these live streams after they premiered here. They usually go up within the first 24 to 48 hours after they premiered here. Usually depends on how fast I can get them edited, rendered, and uploaded to YouTube. I've been having issues with uploading to YouTube because, again, like I said earlier at the beginning of the stream, my pod has been giving me issues, and so I've been sort of struggling getting the videos uploaded and done to and uploaded on my channel and ready to go. So I will see what I can do about it, but I don't know if there's much I can do. So hopefully they'll start to cooperate. But again, with that being there's only so much I can do. So anyway, they will get up there at some point. If it's past Friday, I think I said tomorrow or Wednesday again. It's tomorrow or Friday because today is Wednesday. So it's either tomorrow or Friday. Just again, depending on how fast I can edit it, render them, and get them up on YouTube. If you want to help me out over there on YouTube, it would be great if you could subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell notification so that you're notified whenever I upload a video. Like the live streams, share the live streams, help get the word out about them. I would really appreciate that too. I'm a small YouTuber as well, so like I said, every little bit helps. Really do appreciate it. With that, like I said, being said, comment under the video as well, whether it's an idea of ways that can improve the stream or a suggestion for games you want to see us play in the future. What else? Or even if it's just an emoji for the sake of engagement. Like I said, every little bit helps. One comment might not do anything with the YouTube algorithm, but the more people that do so, the more likely that, you know, the algorithm will see that there's engagement on the channel or on the video and might boost it a little bit more. So, you know, every little bit helps. So the next live stream will be on, let's see, the 17th. So yeah, the next live stream will be on August 17th. We'll be back playing Europa Universalis. I'll be back with Sean and Matt, so you guys can enjoy that. We'll be on the 4th live stream of the playthrough. That'll be fun. Looking forward to that as always. This live stream, or this Cities Skylines 2 playthroughs will happen on Wednesdays at 6:30. EU4, if you guys are interested in checking that out. There's over 100 videos uploaded to YouTube, to my YouTube channel of mine and my friends' playthroughs of EU4. They go up, or we live stream that every Monday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. City Skylines 2 from now on will be on Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. EST as well. So again, work that out for you guys. Like, work that out with whatever time zone that is. But until then, I'm gonna head off. So I gotta give my voice a break, and I gotta go to the bathroom too. So anyway, thank you all for watching. I will see you guys on August 17th. I'm your host, Chris, or I'm your host. What am I talking about? Well, technically I am a host, I guess. But anyway, I'm Chris, aka Allegius, and I will see you guys on Monday. See you guys then.